All right, we have the progress bar. Let's go to our payment view and start using it. Progress payments view. And we have here a note to use progress view. Let's create a view builder. Private func progress view, which will return some view for us. And we call it here progress view. Get back our, there is no more point of getting our preview, but it's okay. So our progress view, here is the function that we need to set up. Let's quickly look what we have in our progress view. It will be these 3 items here. So we have a text. Let's start from that. Because we have 3 items one on top of each other, we use a vstack, and we will have a text of payment progress. Put some font of subheadline. Put a foreground color of secondary, and some padding of, let's do the top. Progress view. Let's see what's the problem here. Nothing. All right, quickly run. Go to a payment. It's payment progress, which is good. Next thing is our progress bar. So let's say progress bar. We are initializing it. You see, now we can pass a bar height if we want, but by default it takes a progress. Let's just get the height as well. Progress, I'm going to initialize an empty one, and let's put it 40 points high and see how it looks. You see how tall is our progress bar now? I'm going to get rid of this height, which will set it to 20. Let's quickly get back and check it. All right, it's touching the sides, so let's apply some padding of horizontal. Which is much nicer now. And finally, we need one more text under our progress view, which is the estimated to finish. So let's say text, and here we have in our view model this expected to finish on, which is basically a string which will be published whenever someone sets this. So by default it's an empty string, and it will be published later on. So this is all the information we need to put in our progress view, because we will have 1, 2, 3. This will be generated, and this is of course generated as well. But here, this progress thing, I need to pass from our view model as well, because we want to calculate everything in our view model, create a progress object, and then we want to pass it to our progress bar. So let's call this view model dot progress. Right now our progress is just a string, but we will change the type to be of our newly created type, which will be progress. And we initialize by default empty one, which has no values, but we are going to do our calculations and change this, set it to the new one. Alrighty, let's calculate actually for the progress. Here I'm going to write a function, not a private, it will be func calculate progress. Again, we need to make sure we have a loan before we do anything, because our loan is an optional. And if we do, we are going to calculate the total paid, the amount left, and then we will calculate how much this loading bar should be filled. So we say let total paid is equals. So what we need to do to understand how much we have paid already is we have this payments object. We want to go over all these payments object and get each payment from this payment. This is the payments object, sorry. All payments, and from each payment we want to get the amount and we want to add all of them together. And once we finish going through the array, we will have our paid amount. So to do this, we can use the reduce of the array. So we say all payments, and we want to reduce to 0. And what we want to do is we say $0 dot $0 plus $1 dot amount. So this will take every previous item and whatever the value was, and add to that the next object of the array until the array is reduced to 0. Then we will have our total paid. Then we say let total left is equals, and when we access our loan, total amount minus whatever was paid. So we have the left, and now the value, which is should be the number between 0 and 1. So say let value to show our loading par is equals, and then we say total paid divided to loan dot total amount. So we check how much was paid and divide it how much was the total. And now we can create a progress view with all this information. The value will be our value, left will be total left, and paid will be total paid. And this, remember, sets our progress, which in its turn will let our view model will tell our progress bar that something has changed, and it will update. Now the only thing is left is to call this calculate progress. So where we want to call it, let's go down on our appear, and after we set the view model loan, we say view model dot calculate progress. So let's run our application. Go here, and you see that our loading is there. So let me add one more. I don't know, 100, done, and our progress is being updated. And let's add 550 just to see. Now you see the total, the bar is being updated, and the values here, paid and left, are also being updated, which is super cool. Now the next thing we need to do is we have a few options. We either do the grouping, or we do this calculation of the estimated payment, because right now there is nothing there. So let's do this grouping, I think, which is a little bit simpler. So we need to go back to our view model. Let's go here, jump to definition, and here we create another func, separate by year. And to do that, we need to use this all payments object, because this will make our life much easier if we have an object that will get all the information about each payment. So basically what we want to do, this all payment option will have like a title for our section, because we want to separate it, and then it will automatically calculate how much we have paid already to get the total, and it will keep an array of all the items inside that section. So let's create, let's go to our model, create a new file, and this is going to be a payment option. Payment object, not option, sorry, payment object. And it's going to be a simple struct, payment object, copy, and it should be conforming to equitable. And then we say var section name is of type string, var section objects, this will be array of payments, and the total. So we say var section total is double. Okay, we have this payment object. Let's go back to our view model, and here will be a payment object instead of a string. So we have an array of payment objects. So now in our separate by year, we are going to say all payment object. Let's make it plural actually. All payment objects is equals to empty array. When we call this function, we want to reset it to empty array. Then we will create a dictionary. So we have like a key value pair of our, because we want to separate all the payments by their year of the payments. All right, so we can group them by year. So we say let dictionary is equals to dictionary, and we're going to grouping. What we want to group? We want to group all payments because this is our array of the payments. And what we want to group it by? We want to, we want to group this by $0.wrapped date dot. And now we have a date object. Okay, we need to, I'm missing the two dots. We need to get the year out of that date because wrapped date is just a date. So how we are going to get the year is the easiest way is to create an extension so we can use it later on. Let's create a Swift file, and I'm going to call this date plus extension. Right, and here we are going to get the extension to our date object, var int of year, which will return an integer question mark because we may not get anything. It's an optional. So we will say we will access our calendar.current.date component, and we want to get only the year. Okay, from, and we say self, which is the date we are accessing, and we get the year here. So this will return the integer of that year. So let's go back where we are. All right, and now we can access this newly created extension, int of year. All right, so this should create a dictionary which will separate all the payments by their year of creation. So we will have a key of, let's say, 2020, and an array of the value will be array of payments there. All right, this will be our dictionaries. Now we want to go over key value in dictionary. So we want to go over every key value pairs that we have in our dictionary, and let's just make sure we have a key. And if we have a key, what we want to do is, in order to get the total of that year's payment, again, we have the same situation as here. Here we are checking the total payment, but in our array here, in our function for loop, we want to check the total of that specific year. So I can copy this total. Let's remove total paid. And instead of all payments, we want to check the value. Okay, this is the key value. The key is the name of the year. Value is the array of all the payments. All right, if you make option click on the value, it shows that it's an array of payments. So we go through all the payments array, and get the total amount, how much was paid for that year. So this will be our total. Then we will access all payments object or payment objects. And now we are going to append a payment object into this array. Remember, this is an array of payment objects. So we say append, and we are going to say payment object. The section name is going to be our key, because our key is the year. Okay, so we say key. Section objects will be our values, and I want to reverse them because I want to get the most latest on the top, the most latest payment on the top. And the section title, section total will be our total. So right now we add it to append it to our all objects array. And let's sort all these all objects, all payment objects, so that we get most recent year on the top as well. So we say all payment objects sort by, and we say $0.section name, which is the year, remember, should be greater than $1.section